Hey folks, welcome into the News 12 Now desk. Thanks for joining us on this Friday, April the 28th, I believe. I forgot my watch, so let me just check. Yep, April 28th. Pretty good start to the day. We had some nice rain yesterday. Hopefully cleared up some of that pollen for you. Maybe got the plants watered a little bit. But yeah, we do have a nice morning out there so far. Looking to see some afternoon showers though. So if you are heading out today, hopefully don't have to cancel the plans, but yeah, a little bit of rain in the forecast this afternoon. Okay, we're taking a look at our top headlines, some of the big stories going on around the region, the two-state, and really around the country. So we'll jump right in here with a missing person. The Richmond County Sheriff's Office looking for this man here. Marquez Spear was last seen on Antebellum Drive last night wearing wearing blue and black plaid pajamas and black and white shoes. Deputies say he is nonverbal, and if you see him or know where he may be, you are asked to call the sheriff's office. Following up on a shooting here, a woman is recovering this morning after being shot. The Richmond County Sheriff's Office says it happened yesterday evening on Bandler Road. The woman was sitting in her car when the two suspects started shooting, hitting both her and her car. By the time the deputies got to the scene, the suspects were gone. Caught on camera, a train crashing into an 18-wheeler right in front of Club Car in Evans. Columbia County deputies say the driver of the truck was trying to move forward and the arm of the train signal came down between the front of the truck and the trailer behind it. Taylor Martin was at the scene yesterday to tell us a little bit more.
It happened around 3 this afternoon, and not only was the truck driver lucky to escape alive, first responders say if the fuel and oil the semi was dumping out into the ditch caught fire, it could have been a disaster. Take a look at this video as the driver jumps out seconds before the train speeds through the front of his truck. And just a few seconds beforehand, you can see the arm at the railroad crossing wedged right between the cab and the trailer, giving the driver only a second to hop out, saving his own life. Authorities say the collision caused oil and fuel to spill from the truck, leaking into a nearby ditch. Luckily, the impact didn't start a fire and the fire department cleaned it up. Within a few hours of the crash, the train was moving again and crews were busy working on cleanup and getting the truck out of the way. In a statement to News 12, the train company involved, CSX, says, CSX appreciates the swift response of the first responders and is supporting local police as they investigate the incident. And people out there today told me they could hear the wreck miles up the road because it was just that loud. And with it being such a close call, thankfully, no one was hurt.
That is the good news there. Thanks for that, Taylor. A Richmond County deputy is recovering after being hit by a car yesterday afternoon. It happened at the Augusta Mall on Wrightsboro Road. The sheriff's office says the deputy was investigating a shoplifting, and when a car hit him in the parking lot and kept going, the deputy's injuries are minor, but they are still looking for the driver. So if you know anything, again, call Richmond County deputies there. 6 years. That's how long one great-grandmother will spend behind bars for a deadly dog attack that killed 7-month-old Serenity Garnett. It was a packed courtroom filled with friends and family of Serenity's parents. They were all wearing shirts that said "Sleep in Paradise." There was no trial because the defendant took full responsibility for her actions. Our Hallie Turner was there when Serenity's family spoke in court.
Yeah, it was an emotional day in court for Serenity Garnett's family. Both sides of the family came face to face with the one person they put their trust into for care for the 7-month-old. And now their lives are forever changed. An attempt to mend a broken relationship.
She has tormented my family for decades, and she ruined my mom. She ruined my little sister.
Cost 7-month-old Serenity Garnett her life when her great-grandmother moved from New York to Georgia to babysit her while her parents were in school.
I trusted her with my most precious thing in my life, but instead she chose drugs. How can this happen if she was really watching Serenity? Why didn't she call 911? Serenity's life could have been saved.
She died in March of 2022 after a dog attacked her while in the care of her great-grandmother, Migdala Guadalupe.
Because I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe somebody that we had so many problems with growing up had took the one thing that had healed my family
At the time of Serenity's death, Guadalupe did not have a track record in Georgia of drug use, but the prosecutor said she did in New York. When law enforcement responded to the home, Guadalupe was found to be high on drugs, breaking the family all over again.
Pain of losing my granddaughter in such a horrific way has been unbearable, and it has been difficult to come to terms with the fact that she is no longer with us.
Guadalupe was sentenced Thursday for the death of Serenity Garnett.
10 years on count 1, followed by 3 years to be served on count 2, 6 years to be served in confinement, the balance to be served on probation.
While it won't bring their baby back, Serenity's family released this statement to News 12. We want to thank everyone for all of the prayers and support you have showed us. With great pleasure, I'm able to say that justice has been served. Nothing will bring back our precious Serenity, but we are content with knowing the person responsible for this horrific incident will be punished to the full extent. Long live Serenity.
Thanks for that update there, Hallie. Well, this woman was driving home from a wedding with a blood alcohol level more than 3 times the legal limit as she went down Harlem Grovetown Road, killing 43-year-old Tiffany Harris. Priscilla Johnson's Tahoe crossed the center line into the eastbound lane on a curve, striking Harris's Chrysler 300 head-on.
To say that life changed on the night of October 24, 2020 is the understatement of the century. It's been 915 days since these children have had a mother. That's 915 days that they've been on their own with help from, other people that could. That's 3 Thanksgivings and 3 Christmases.
An emotional day in court for 2 families. Priscilla Johnson charged with homicide by vehicle in the 1st degree. She was sentenced under first offender provisions to 15 years, the first 5 in confinement, the rest, the rest on probation. Columbia County is booming with growth, and to help keep up with some of that growth near Grovetown, crews are expanding Horizon South Parkway on exit 190 from 2 lanes to 4. Our Nick Veland had a timeline of the project and how some businesses are handling it.
Well, right now getting into the shopping center off of Horizon South Parkway is limited. Even when you get in, you have to wiggle your way back to where Nightline Apparel and the Bunker Cafe are. They're hoping that this construction project will give them a turn lane, but overall, they just want this project to wrap up ASAP.
It's been hectic with all the road work, but it's coming along. Hopefully they'll hurry up and finish so that we can get back to a normal way of life here.
Construction for an area busting at the seams. The county says 19,000 cars drive on the 2-lane portion of Horizon South every day.
Just with the construction, seems to be slowing folks down, which doesn't give them as much time to come in and shop. We're getting a little more visibility with them stopped in traffic here. They're also waiting 10 minutes to get to a red light and realize they don't have 10 extra minutes, so they're having to go on where they're headed.
Blake Rice lives in Grovetown and drives through Horizon South Parkway daily. He just opened 9line Apparel right along where construction has just started and says this traffic is slowing them down.
Just the slowness of slowing everybody down, slowing our business down and keeping them from coming in and out, and I'm concerned.
Now, when the road merges from 4 to 2 lanes, drivers have to be careful.
It's an inherent issue in and of itself, and then when you add construction in there, that's another factor that plays into it.
The county and Rice know that this will be a tough time, but know that there are better days ahead when construction gets completed.
And it's going to provide tremendous relief throughout that whole area.
More infrastructure, more people, more clients, more customers, more people drinking coffee and buying t-shirts.
And even though they're saying it's going to be a 2.5-year project, the county says a more realistic end date would be the middle of 2026. In Columbia County, Nick Veland on your side.
No, a lot of folks are ready to see that project wrap up sooner rather than later. Thanks for that, Nick. A family is without a home this morning after their house caught on fire yesterday afternoon. News 12 was at the scene on West Boundary Street in Harlem as the house was engulfed in flames around 4 o'clock. Thankfully, no one was hurt, and the cause of the fire is still under investigation. The Burke County Sheriff's Office is looking for this man in connection to a weekend shooting that left 1 person hurt just outside of Girard. Micaiah Anthony is wanted for aggravated assault and possession of a weapon, firearm rather. The Sheriff's Office says it happened Saturday night near Claxton Road. When deputies got to the scene, they found the victim had been shot at least once and was later taken to the hospital. Deputies say Anthony's about 6 feet tall with brown eyes and black hair. The Edgefield County School District and County Board of Education are mourning the loss of school board member Eric Driley, who passed away Sunday. Driley was on the Edgefield County Board of Education after winning a special election in 2021 to fill the district's 6th seat, and he had just won re-election this last November. In a statement, County Board of Education Chair Robin Ball says he was an outstanding gentleman who loved his family and community dearly. Our thoughts go out to his family and friends. In just a few days, 3 newly elected city council members will be sworn in. Voting in North Augusta wrapped up Tuesday. Incumbents Kevin Toole and Eric Presnell won the popular vote, as well as newcomer David Buck. The swearing in will be on Monday at 6 o'clock during the city council meeting in North Augusta. The war at home. An update on the fight for better military housing at Fort Gordon. For years now, our I-Team's Meredith Anderson has been exposing the dangers in the homes. The search for answers has taken her all the way to Capitol Hill.
And it's coming at an important time. This is video of inspectors going house by house at Fort Gordon, and they won't stop until they've been through each and every one. Senator John Ossoff saw these inspections firsthand before again putting Fort Gordon in the national spotlight.
This is a leak from the master bathroom toilet upstairs.
It might not have hit the fan.
Feces-filled water is dripping from our ceiling.
But it sure created a storm.
That is disgusting.
First, when Joy Vieira first told her story to the I-Team last summer.
Housing representatives that were supposed to be representing our families completely stopped speaking to me.
But then she and her family moved to house number 2. It didn't have any number 2 dripping from the ceiling, but it had another problem.
I noticed there was no airflow upstairs, so I checked the vents for a blockage, and then I found mold.
That's Joy telling her story again, but this time I-Team cameras are rolling in an oversight session on Capitol Hill, with some top brass in the room too, like Lieutenant General Kevin Vereen, the Army's Deputy Chief of Staff for Installations.
Reality sets in when you hear personal testimony.
And not just Joy's testimony.
I found black and green mold.
Military families should not be treated as second-class citizens. Our home was unfit for human occupancy. We immediately moved out. For about 2 weeks, we lived out of our car and on our porches.
Rachel Jacobson is the Assistant Secretary of the Army for Installations, Energy, and the Environment.
We obviously need to do more.
And since Secretary Jacobson declined to speak with the I-Team further about what more means,
Okay, just one question. Okay.
Sorry,
ma'am. You have enough from that.
we'll have to rely on what she said in the session. She admits Fort Gordon's primary mission has changed since Balfour Beatty took over housing, and the addition of the Cyber Center of Excellence significantly increases the need for more of it on post. So the Army plans to put its money where its mouth is.
An initial step is the inclusion in our budget request for fiscal year 24 of $50 million to support recapitalization of the Fort Gordon housing inventory. This will go to housing at Fort Gordon. Doesn't go to Balfour Beatty's pockets.
But those are just funds the Army is requesting. They told us just in the last few weeks, money was approved to get 118 homes livable again. Right now, those homes are so bad, families can't even live in them.
The $5.1 million it will be dispersed pretty soon.
Also, an update on new construction, a neighborhood the I-Team first told you about 2 years ago.
We expect that they'll start construction here in about the next 60 to 90 days.
76 new homes won't solve the problem, but Pine Tree Terrace is a start. Right now you're looking at the layout, but the I-Team can show you the actual plans. Most of the homes are fourplexes. They're 2 stories with 4 bedrooms and 2.5 baths. They include lots of upgrades, all with families in mind. like bigger garages with storage, a full laundry room, and an oversized pantry. The single-family homes are all one story, but they have the same amount of bedrooms and the same upgrades, except they are all wheelchair accessible and fully ADA compliant. But what will they look like? There, that's much better. That makes it a lot easier to see. But the problem now, how do you keep an eye on the things that you can't see?
I'm worried about this. On the one hand, we need new homes on post. You know, we got 50-year-old homes with a lot of problems, and part of the solution here is new construction. On the other hand, the Army needs to define with more clarity and specificity how they are going to manage this construction project.
A project managed by Balfour Beatty, the same company that pleaded guilty to fraud.
From 2013 to 2019, your company engaged in a scheme to defraud the United States, correct?
The record indicate, or
Is that correct that you engaged in a scheme to defraud the United States?
That, Senator, the settlement agreement acknowledges that. Yes, sir.
Admitting it inflated work orders so executives could get bonuses. Bonuses the I-team tracked at Fort Gordon, totaling in the millions. And the same company at the center of a U.S. Senate hearing 1 year ago. But there has been some progress. According to Senator Ossoff's report, Balfour Beatty hired 18 new maintenance technicians, as well as another manager and 2 call center employees on site to be more responsive to tenants. Balfour Beatty has also added or enhanced more than 130 training courses for its employees over the past year. There's also quality control for high-risk repairs after a worker did not adequately seal a gas line, and EMS found a woman unresponsive just outside her Fort Gordon home.
I said to them, you are now in non-compliance with your ground lease, and this could end up in default and termination. And that we wanted an immediate, I think I gave them 14 days to respond about what they were going to do about this.
I think there are indications that the Army is taking this seriously.
As for Joy, the Army has already moved her family to another state.
No poop coming from the ceiling, no mold in the vents.
Do you regret speaking out?
Nope, I absolutely do not. I can't, because this is too important of an issue to keep quiet about.
I reached out to leaders at Fort Gordon about the timeline for the new construction, but so far they have not been able to give me a date of when crews might break ground or really any details at all. Of course, I will keep you posted.
We know you will, Mayor. Thank you for that. And Meredith and I talked about this pretty extensively over the last couple weeks. If you want to check any of those conversations out, they're up on our News 12 streaming app and also on our YouTube channel. So if you head to either of those, you can see them up on there. Doctors Hospital hosted a community food drive yesterday to donate all the food to the Golden Harvest Food Bank. A drive-through set up for donation drop-offs at the Doctors Hospital campus at the medical building on J. Dewey Gray Circle. The goal is to stock up on healthy food to help support people facing hunger in our community.
Our goal is to provide approximately 400 meals with donated food to provide healthy meals for our community. At the end of the month, we're going to collect all of the donations, weigh them, and it will go to Golden Harvest, and it can be used at their food bank or also in their soup kitchen type establishments.
And while this event may be over, you can always still donate to Golden Harvest through their website, which I don't have exactly. Let me just check real quick. Golden Harvest Food Bank. GoldenHarvest.org. That's what it is. I knew it was something like that. There you go, goldenharvest.org. You can always donate on there as well. Some good news for all you barbecue fans out there. Duke's Barbecue recently posted these photos to Facebook, giving a progress report on their rebuilding efforts in Aiken. This aerial view shows the parking lot starting to take shape. There's no exact date for when the restaurant will reopen, but they say their previously anticipated date of July 4th will not be possible, so hoping to see them come back right around the end of summer, maybe the beginning of fall. There are some vulnerabilities in Georgia's Department of Public Health, and now a security firm, which is being hired to fix those issues, could leave people's personal information, the the issues could leave people's personal information at risk of being stolen by hackers. Our State House reporter Abby Kasoris takes us a look at how security will be strengthened.
The state is working to repair dozens of vulnerabilities that could leave the information of millions of Georgians accessible to hackers.
When you pay taxes, somebody got your information, you can't pay taxes.
Adrian Bass is one of millions of Georgians who use the state's gateway portal to apply for government assistance under the state's Department of Health Services.
Such as food stamps and Medicaid, stuff like that, people can have information, access to your food stamp card. I don't think it's fair.
After reports of accounts getting hacked last fall, the Department of Health paid more than $200,000 for an offensive security firm, HackerOne, to do what's called penetration testing to find loopholes in the gateway software.
Years ago, while it may have been taboo, now this is the new norm and what we're doing to move forward and protect people's information.
Hollis Hicks works for Bishop Fox. People pay them to go in ahead of the bad guys and tell them how they're able to get access without getting noticed.
Now that the threat landscape's evolved, that government regulations have evolved, technology moves very quickly, so does the security industry, and so do the people who want to take advantage of it and of your information at the end of the day.
So far, hackers have found about 30 vulnerabilities in the system, and the state is in the process of fixing them. The state then plans to expand this program to other agencies to make sure child support and welfare information is also protected.
It's important to find out about your information because it's online, then you got state people that not really doing their job.
The company Deloitte, which has offices in Atlanta, built the gateway portal used here in Georgia and in other states. A representative from the company says they're working with the state as well as their other clients to improve security as they identify problems. In Atlanta, I'm Abby Kasoris.
Some changes are coming to Georgia's Medicaid system. This comes as the COVID public health emergency is coming to an end next month, which means people will have to start reapplying for Medicaid eligibility again. The Peach State is one of the few states that will have work requirements to be eligible for Medicaid if you fall under a 100% poverty level. For a single-family household, that salary is roughly $14,000, and for a household of 4, it's about $30,000. Most of us use our smartphones or tablets for hours a day, making calls, listening to podcasts, looking up something new. Now, inmates in a Gwinnett County jail in Georgia have new tools designed to better prepare them for a life after release. Chelsea Beimfor shows us how these special inmate tablets work.
All the different apps you can do, the Khan Academy, the phone app.
Jason Benson is serving time at the Gwinnett County Jail for drug possession.
Relapsed after 4 years and ended up coming back to jail.
He does not want to end up here again, and he believes a new tool, the new tablet that jail staff gave him earlier this month, can help.
They have math. They have classes on classes.
Gwinnett County Sheriff Kibo Taylor says about 480 inmates have access to the controlled devices, which come with educational programs, podcasts, an online law library, and access to video chat with family and friends.
What we want to do here in Gwinnett County is put a positive spin on this particular time for them. Give them all of the resources that we can to make sure, that they're, once they get out of here, that they're productive, and that they don't come back.
Sheriff Taylor says the expanding tablet program comes at no cost to taxpayers. The devices were upgraded by the communications company they've been contracted with for years, but friends and family members must pay to set up calls or video chats just like they would for a regular jail phone call.
This is a self-funded program.
A program with the potential to set inmates up for success once they walk free.
I want to never come back. I want to help be there with my family and raise my kids. And that's what I'm missing out on now.
Benson says he's also been using his tablet to listen to podcasts about addiction, which helps him cope and learn to overcome his problem. Let's move across the river now to South Carolina. A push to ban abortion from conception in South Carolina is done for the year. The 5 female members of the state Senate banded together this week to filibuster that bill and ultimately kill it yesterday. Our State House reporter Mary Green has the details.
Earlier this year, the House of Representatives passed a ban on abortion from conception. This week, the Senate began debating that bill, though the Senate Republican leader had repeatedly said there was not enough support in his chamber to pass as restrictive a bill as that one. That indeed proved to be the case this week, and that bill will go no further this year.
I was expecting a fight.
and that's what we had.
Spearheading the block of a bill banning abortion from conception in South Carolina were the 5 women in the 46-member state Senate. The 3 Republicans, 1 Democrat, and 1 independent senator took turns leading a 2-day filibuster on the bill.
This is certainly not a political issue. This is a human rights issue. It's an issue of women's rights, privacy rights, family rights, and certainly partisan politics should not have anything to do with it.
They were joined by every other Democratic senator and 3 Republican men to vote Thursday afternoon to end debate on the abortion ban from conception for the rest of this year. That kills the bill for now.
Today, to win, or to at least put the issue to rest for this year, was more than rewarding.
Abortion is currently legal in South Carolina before about 20 weeks into a pregnancy. Earlier this year, the Senate passed a 6-week ban, and to this point, the House of Representatives has been unwilling to take that bill up. Senate Republican leader Shane Massey is urging House Republicans to do that now, with just 6 days left in this year's legislative session.
It's up to the House now, right? I mean, that they have the ability to prevent thousands of abortions in South Carolina. And I hope they'll take that.
Here's what Speaker of the House Merle Smith said Wednesday when asked what his chamber would do next.
I can tell you the House is always going to evaluate its options as protecting life. And so, you know, we're not committing anything and we're not foreclosing on anything. The only commitment we have is we have a commitment in this body to protect life.
The South Carolina legislature has failed to enact tighter abortion restrictions since the U.S. Supreme Court overturned Roe v. Wade last summer. If Republicans can't get it done in the next 2 weeks, they'd likely have to wait until the beginning of next year to try again. Reporting from the State House, I'm Mary Green.
And during that same time, since the Supreme Court overturned Roe v. Wade, other states in the Southeast have passed more restrictive abortion bans. DHEC data shows the number of residents from other states seeking abortions from South Carolina has skyrocketed since then. It was something like 4% in January of 2022 of abortions in South Carolina were out of state, and now it's like 45. So a lot of people coming from out of state to get abortions in South Carolina. To politics now, another known name in the GOP could be one step closer to throwing his hat in the presidential ring. Senator Tim Scott says he's still considering a presidential run. The South Carolina Republican told Fox News he hopes to decide if he should enter the race before the end of May. Scott already announced at an exploratory committee for president earlier this month. I sat down with him yesterday, or I sat down with a political science professor at AU yesterday and asked him what to expect from Senator Scott's committee. When he launches this exploratory committee, is that truly just want to see where people are at, or is that usually a first step towards saying, hey, I'm announcing my campaign, I'm throwing my hat in the ring?
Well, I think it's a trial balloon thing. I think it's a very serious step. I think your insight, Nick, on that he has all this money that he raised in an election he was already going to win is very insightful. And the thing about Tim Scott is that the big Republican donors like him and support him, and that's why he has all that money in the bank.
Scott raised more than $50 million for a U.S. Senate race he was heavily favored to win from the beginning. He went on to win that by 400,000 or so votes. Dr. Murray also shared his thoughts on the top 2 candidates in the field, President Biden, former President Trump, and how their legal matters may impact the race.
There's a very interesting debate, are his legal troubles, as we started out with, is that just extending his political life? If he weren't in all this trouble, would we still be as focused on him as we are? And every time one of these prosecutors announces something, he's in the news again, calling it a witch hunt. That's his strategy. I think there's probably some logic to it. But it's what gives him air to continue. Kind of like the same thing that Trump is dealing with his legal issues. He's got this issue with his son, Hunter Biden, but it seems like this may be serious. So if there ends up being a problem with Hunter, with his son, doing things that he shouldn't be doing, that to some degree offsets some of the problems that some of the criticisms of former President Trump in terms of his legal problems. So, that's something to kind of watch too and see how that plays out.
If you didn't see my full interview with Dr. Murray yesterday, you can catch that up on our website, WRDW.com, on our YouTube page, WRDW News 12, and also on our streaming app, WRDW. So any of those, you can check it out. It's probably 15, 20 minutes long, just kind of giving an overview of the 2024 presidential race, as we've had a few names or a few big players kind of throw their hats into the ring for this race. Also in the Palmetto State, a renewed push to expand Sunday liquor sales stalled after small family-owned businesses raised concerns. The stores say they don't want to compete with bigger chains. The proposal would allow 10 tourist-heavy counties to decide by voters whether to let stores sell alcohol on Sundays. Right now, only bars, restaurants, and hotel lounges can sell liquor on Sundays. South Carolina is naming part of Highway 78 after a Dorchester County native who died in a shooting at the University of Virginia last year. Lavelle Davis Jr. was a wide receiver with the Virginia Cavaliers when he and 2 other football players were shot and killed. It happened in November on a bus returning from a field trip. Earlier this month, state lawmakers passed a bill that would rename part of the highway in front of Woodland High School the Norman Davis Jr. Memorial Highway.
Not only was he a great student, an incredible student, but he was a role model to the young members of the community, and he left an incredible void in the community, on the upper end of Dorchester County.
Lavelle's former high school football coach says the last few months have been hard, but each day gets a little bit easier. A miracle is how doctors describe a 20-year-old student's recovery after he was hit by a car. Recently, William Sibley reunited with the trauma and ICU teams that kept him alive. Andrew Fancher was there for the heartwarming meeting.
I can read and see and hear how many people helped me and what happened, but I don't think I'll ever really fully understand how close I was to death.
This is the moment William Sibley and his family were reunited with the Prisma Health team who saved his life last February. Sibley says he was crossing the intersection of Bluff and South Stadium Road when a car hit him, tossing him 60 feet.
In trauma, there's some procedures that are in the books, and then there's procedures that you just have to come up with.
Dr. Chris Watson was in the surgical trauma ICU at Prisma Health Richland Hospital the night Sibley arrived. Sibley's lungs were punctured and an artery in his neck was on the verge of inducing a massive stroke. His leg bone remained exposed for 8 days as the trauma team worked to relieve swelling in his brain.
We had an understanding that we might be walking into a situation where he's been kept alive for us to have our final goodbyes and to authorize organ donation.
With daily prayer, Sibley pulled through, spending nearly a month at Prisma's surgical trauma ICU before regaining memory at a rehab hospital in D.C.
I was supposed to work the 2022 Masters tournament in Augusta, and then the accident happened and I had to miss it. And I remember watching the tournament from my hospital bed, and it that was the first thing that really sunk in. I was like, wow, I was supposed to be there. I was supposed to work the tournament. And now I don't know if I'll ever even be able to return to school or leave my house.
He missed the remainder of his spring semester at USC, set out the fall semester, and returned as a sophomore this January.
And it's amazing he just took exams today, just a year later. Even years and years later, a lot of people can't even balance a checkbook or something like that.
I'm really not supposed to be here. And I know I can say that all I want, but I'm really not supposed to be here.
Sibley says he's hesitant to use the word miracle to describe his survival, but friends and family familiar with his road to recovery say there's no other way to explain it. Well, Jerry Springer, best known for his long-running talk show, has died of cancer at age 79. The family released a statement saying he passed away peacefully in his suburban Chicago home. Jared Hill takes a look back at his career.
Known for its outrageous brawls and dysfunctional guests, The Jerry Springer Show was an American guilty pleasure for decades, scoring high ratings for much of its 27-year run. Host Jerry Springer had this to say about the show's longevity in 2010.
I'm not proud because what we're starting now is we're starting to get the kids of our original guests on. And this is wrong because these people were told not to procreate.
Springer was born in London to German Jews who escaped the Holocaust and came to this country when he was 5. In the 1970s, he served as a city council member and mayor of Cincinnati. But it was his salacious, self-named television show that turned Jerry Springer into a household name.
It was fascinating to watch, people fight and people, argue over, infidelity, and it tapped into a part of the national psyche that was untapped.
We're getting down and dirty with our next story.
Springer defended his critically reviled program as escapist entertainment and often told people, tongue-in-cheek, that his wish for them was that they may never be on his show. Jared Hill, CBS News.
There was nothing like being home sick on a Tuesday afternoon when you were like 12, turning on the TV, there's no cartoons on, and there's Jerry Springer and Maury and Steve Wilkos and all those shows you probably shouldn't have been watching at 12 years old. But a family spokesperson says Springer's ability to connect with people was at the heart of his success in everything he tried, whether it was politics, broadcasting, or just joking with people on the street who wanted a photo or a word. But to California now. California's back-to-back storms have sparked another gold rush. Steve Large reports from the heart of gold country.
We do a lot of different gold supplies in here.
Albert Fausel is a third-generation owner of the Placerville hardware store, opened 170 years ago.
1852, yep. Second continuous operating business in all of California.
The store is in the heart of gold country.
So now instead of selling dynamite, I'm selling metal detectors. So up high, we've got the sluice boxes.
Now, Fausel is getting ready for a new gold rush.
So it's one of those points, like I haven't seen this in my life.
$750 worth of gold right here.
Mark Dayton is a metal detector expert.
Anybody could find this right now.
He recently found this treasure in a few hours' time.
It's going to get crazy, though.
Dayton believes more gold will be more easily available this year in this historic gold country, where James Marshall's 1848 find changed California forever.
It's the biggest event of my life.
The predicted gold rush follows this series of intense winter storms eroding rock from waterways.
As the water comes down really quickly, especially in steep canyons, it hits the banks and washes fresh dirt right off the banks and liberates new, fresh deposits of gold right into the water. Probably most of these were in moving water at some time.
A new golden opportunity in gold country. It's starting to feel like 49er fever.
This year is going to be unprecedented.
Time to go get some gold.
And take a look at this glass vial of gold nuggets. This is half an ounce of gold. Right now, its value, $1,000.
I don't know if anyone wants to take a trip to California, but sounds like could be the play right now. So if anybody wants to go, let me know. I'll hop on that with you. All right, police in Illinois had their hands full with an unusual situation near a school this week. They got a call about people running through a neighborhood with a steer on the loose. Officers responded, and with help from a farmer, they were finally able to corral the cow and get it into a trailer.
Saw a helicopter, and then we saw the truck, so we walked on over to see if there really was a cow. And what did you see? We really saw a cow.
I was standing kind of by the truck, and it looked like a rodeo. It was crazy.
Police said it was a senior prank that got out of hand. The students bought the animal and were trying to take it to the school. When it got away from them, someone also brought chickens to the school. The students involved all got citations to appear in court. The way I see it, man, as long as nobody got hurt, let the kids have fun. Dumb senior prank, though, I gotta say. I think we just had a water balloon fight in our courtyard, which was also pretty dumb, to be fair. Actually, we did do one. My principal's last name was Campbell, so we got a bunch of Campbell soup cans, and we loaded up the parking lot, and we did it like the night before everybody was coming into school. It was like, I don't remember what night of the week it was, but overnight the janitors cleared them all out. So by the time our principal got there, they were all gone. That was a bummer. It was a nice wholesome prank too. We were going to donate them all to charity and everything, and then they just took all the cans from us. Anywho, we move. All right. Taylor Swift fans are lining up near the Mercedes-Benz Stadium as early as 4 o'clock yesterday morning to get their hands on her Eras Tour merch, even though it didn't even go on sale for another 6 hours. Crews made their final touches for the Atlanta Hawks Game 6 yesterday, which started at 8:30 last night. There was also a Janet Jackson concert last night that got moved to tonight at State Farm, the same night as Taylor Swift's first performance at the Benz. It's going to be a madhouse tonight downtown out there in Atlanta. Business owners are saying they are preparing to be busy and are excited for the big boost in business.
I was home like ching ching, ching ching. Right now we're going from 12 to 12, but when Teller's in town, I told him don't quit till we see Teller's bus leave.
Taylor Swift will perform 3 nights in a row at the Benz, and city officials are warning of heavy congestion in the area, again, especially tonight with that Janet Jackson concert happening right down the road. Florida Governor Ron DeSantis is speaking out about Disney's lawsuit against him. On Wednesday, Walt Disney Parks and Resorts sued the governor in federal court. The suit accuses DeSantis and his allies of overseeing the company's special taxing district of violating the company's constitutional rights. Disney says it's a victim of targeted retaliation as punishment for speaking out against DeSantis' policies.
So they're upset because they're actually having to live by the same rules as everybody else. They don't want to have to pay the same taxes as everybody else, and they want to be able to control things without proper oversight, which every other Floridian has to have this type of oversight, all Florida businesses.
Disney and the previous board reached an agreement in February, just before that board was dissolved. Under the plan, Disney would continue to have development rights in the area around its Orlando parks for another 30 years. In Massachusetts, the Air National Guardsman there accused of leaking classified material was in federal court Thursday. Jack Teixeira faces up to 25 years in prison if convicted, but prosecutors say more charges could be coming. Nicole Saganga has details on his court appearance.
Prosecutors asked a federal judge to keep Jack Teixeira behind bars pending trial, arguing Thursday that he is a flight risk and poses a risk to national security. The Massachusetts Air National Guardsman is charged under the Espionage Act for allegedly posting secret military information in an online chat room. The government claims not all of it has publicly surfaced and that it would be of tremendous value to hostile nation states that could offer him safe harbor and attempt to facilitate his escape from the United States. Prosecutors say a gun locker was found in Teixeira's bedroom along with rifles, AK-style weapons, and a bazooka. The court documents also allege the 21-year-old who held a top-secret clearance searched online about recent mass killings and posted disturbing comments saying he wanted to, quote, kill a ton of people. Teixeira's defense lawyer highlighted his lack of a criminal history and argued he's not a flight risk.
There's an ongoing investigation which will tell us a lot more.
The Pentagon is reviewing its clearance protocols and says the leak is an isolated incident.
It's important not necessarily to take the actions of one individual and somehow paint a picture that indicates a systemic breakdown.
Court documents show Teixeira was suspended in high school for talking about Molotov cocktails, guns, and racial threats. He was arrested earlier this month at his mother's home, where investigators say he tried to cover his tracks by smashing a tablet, laptop, and a gaming console. Nicole Skanga, CBS News.
Judge David Hennessy says he will rule later if Teixeira should stay in jail or be released under certain conditions. With graduations, vacations, and family holidays just around the corner, you may be taking more pictures and videos with your phone. We've all seen the warning that there's no room left for a new photo. Before you hit delete, there's something you should avoid. Consumer tech reporter Jamie Tucker focuses on a common mistake that deletes photos forever.
Smartphones are now our primary camera. They're also how we listen to music, watch videos, play games, and all that stuff takes up a lot of storage space. And that's why sometimes you see this when you go to take a picture. So before you take pictures of vacations or graduation parties, you need to know how much space you'll need.
Photos are usually around 2 megabytes. A 20-second video takes up 163 megabytes of storage. Now, you may want to delete photos and videos, but don't be hasty. On iPhones, photos are stored in the iCloud, and if you're not careful, deleting them from your phone will also delete them from the cloud, so you'll lose them forever. Before you delete photos and videos from an iPhone, turn off iCloud. Never mind the pop-up warning. This will delete the photos only from your phone and keep them in the cloud. On this iPhone, photos take up over 4.5 gigabytes of space. Deleting them from the phone won't affect them in the cloud, provided you've turned off iCloud Sync. Now, once you're finished, turn iCloud Backup back on. On an Android device, it's a lot easier. Just make sure backup is turned on. All of the photos get uploaded to Google Photos so you can safely delete them from your device. Now check apps. Facebook and Instagram take up a ton of space. If you need some space for photos, delete these apps from your phone and download them again, which will clear out the storage. Your Facebook and Instagram will not be affected. Delete and reinstall any streaming apps, and if there are apps you haven't used in a long time, delete those, especially free games that can not only take up space but drain the battery even when you're not using them.
And when you get home, you can connect the phone to a computer, download all those images onto a hard drive so you know you've got them saved. That's What the Tech. I'm Jamie Tucker.
And those steps are especially important if you have one of those 64 gigabyte phones and you take pictures in the highest resolution setting. So some good stuff there from Jamie. Okay, let's talk the NFL draft. Round 1 was last night. We had the Panthers. Oh, wait, no. We'll start with the local guys out there, the Clemson and the Georgia guys. We started off with Jalen Carter at number 9 to Philadelphia. The Eagles jumped up a spot to take Carter. He was projected number 1 at some points in the draft process, but had the issues with the speeding incident that killed Devin Willock and Chandler LaCroix, so stock dropped a little bit when he pled no contest in that. Broderick Jones, the offensive tackle out of Georgia, he went to Pittsburgh, and then Nolan Smith, the linebacker, also went to Philadelphia. He's coming off that, I think it was a pec injury that he had at the end of his season. But it's becoming the Philadelphia Bulldogs up there. Last year they took Jordan Davis in the first round, Nakobe Dean in the third round. Now they take Jalen Carter and Nolan Smith in the first round. So Philly just loading up on those Georgia defenders that made those back-to-back national championship runs. Not a bad strategy. And then Clemson guys went 28 and 29 back-to-back. Miles Murphy and Brian Brzee went to Cincinnati and New Orleans respectively. And then Falcons and Panthers. The Panthers, remember, they traded with the Bears to move up to number 1. They go with Bryce Young out of Alabama to start off the draft last night. And then the Falcons took Bijan Robinson out of Texas, number 8. Now, this one was a little bit of a head-scratcher because the Falcons are rebuilding. They're not making a run at a Super Bowl anytime soon. And they go and get a running back when they already had a 1,000-yard guy on the roster. Very questionable move. Running backs are becoming kind of obsolete in recent years. You look at, the Chiefs won last year with a rookie, Isaiah Pacheco, running the ball for them. So running backs aren't as important as they used to be, and the Falcons picked up, a very, very good one, but did they really need it? Probably not. So we'll have to see how that plays out. We have, Dan will have more coverage on the draft coming up later tonight, too. Westside is honoring their back-to-back state champion boys basketball team with a celebration. In March, the Patriots beat Providence Christian 89-81 in overtime to bring another state title back to Augusta. Yesterday, students, teachers, and faculty celebrated the Patriots in style with a pep rally there at the school. Westside had their own version of a dunk contest and a three-point contest. The cheerleaders performed, and the players had a net-cutting ceremony there. By reaching the mountaintop for the second year in a row, the seniors are ending their high school careers on top, with the party giving them the chance to share that special moment with their classmates.
They might have doubted us, but we proved them wrong. And just to know that we can do this one last time with our school, that we've been here for 4 years, it's just a great feeling.
Okay, well, I can promise you not a lot of people doubted Westside coming into the year after they returned pretty much their entire team from last year's state championship winning team. But congrats to them, and looking forward to see if they can continue that success next year as well. Well, the Greenbrier girls soccer team Pursuit of Perfection had to wait an extra day because of the weather conditions. Their state semifinal game showdown with Northgate got canceled or postponed last night, scheduled to tonight, 5:30. So if the Pack win, they will be the first girls soccer team from Columbia County to ever advance to a state championship game. And they are putting that undefeated record on the line. So good luck to them as they look to advance. Well, if you want to take the kids to a Green Jackets game but are worried about them being able to sit down the whole time, the Green Jackets have you in mind. Our Will Volk went to check out a new playground at SRP Park.
There's something new in center field. It's a playground.
We love it. We love it. We couldn't be happier. Come on.
Taylor Nairn is the mom of a 2-year-old. She says it's not always easy taking her daughter to baseball games, especially when you have to sit in a seat. But now, they don't have to.
It gets some energy out for sure. It's better than sitting down. She's not a kind of kid that'll sit down.
We've been trying to evolve different ways to engage families and kids while they're here.
Green Jackets Vice President Tom Denlinger says this is the first time they've had a playground at the ballpark.
Well, I think you can kind of see behind me, they already seem to be enjoying it.
And you can see Augie is enjoying it too. The playground has slides, climbing areas, tunnels, a looking glass to help you see the game, and more.
We're pretty excited. It's just a great way to kind of evolve this area for the 2023 season.
And parents are pretty excited too.
Oh, this is great. Makes bedtime easier.
When the Green Jackets play, the kids can play too. On the slide, we'll vote on your side.
Will's got to learn how to use some slides, man. I think last time it was he got stuck in the slide. This time he didn't land coming off the slide. But if you want to go check out that playground at SRP Park, it is $8 for that kid zone over there. So it's a good way to get them all tired out and ready for bed, though. You heard the mom say that right there at the end. You can always find out about these stories and much more up on our website, WRDW.com. If you're watching this on the website, be sure to download our WRDW streaming app. You can do that on your favorite streaming device, your Roku, your Fire Stick, your Apple TV, whatever that may be. You get all of our I-Team investigations, first alert weather forecasts, aerial Augusta, live newscasts, sports coverage, all that stuff is going to be up there on our streaming app. Also, if you want to subscribe to our YouTube channel, I'll show you how to do that right here. You just search WRDW News on YouTube, and it's this first channel right here. You can just hit subscribe, and that'll give you a lot of shorter videos. So if you don't have time to watch a full 30-minute newscast, you can watch these kind of condensed clips. We've got our I-Team investigations, some popular videos, first alert forecasts, nice and neat in these little playlists for you. So if you want to check that out, that is WRDW News 12 on YouTube again, and we are live on there right now. So it's another way to watch these top headlines every morning. So that is going to do it for us this morning. We'll be back a little bit later on in the morning with some more News 12 Now. But for now, enjoy the rest of the start of your morning. We'll see you back here in a little bit.